Hey, Misty.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, just so you guys know, none of that just happened was Misty's fault. That was my fault because I wasn't clear on where the live video was going to be coming from, whether it was going to be coming from my Facebook or BSB Crew's vlog Facebook, and then we were having technical difficulties. So, you guys yell at me, okay? I'm the one that sucks. So, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm glad to be joining you today.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. And I just want to say thank you. And of course, I'll say it personally to Chanel when it's her turn. But thank you guys both so much for agreeing to do this with me. I really appreciate it. I know that there are a lot of fans that appreciate you guys doing this.
Yeah, no problem. I'm honored to do it for sure.
Well, cool. Well, one thing I wanted to do before we just jump right in is I just wanted you to take a moment for people who don't know who you are, just to introduce yourself. And yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Misty, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from Texas, and my favorite Backstreet Boy is Brian.
Awesome. So,
Yeah.
Misty, I knew that we were technically neighbors because we both live here in Atlanta. I don't think I knew that you were also from Texas like I am.
Oh, what part of Texas are you from?
I was born in San Antonio, but I have family in Houston and Dallas. Where are you from?
Midland, Texas.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So walk outside and it smells like sulfur and oil.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I knew I liked you for a reason. So I have some questions that I sent to both of you guys last night, and some of these questions, and looking at them again, some of them are a little bit specific to certain venues. But I am going to ask you guys both the same 10 questions, just because you guys might each have different experiences with these. Also, I do want to explain to everyone. So there's a reason why Chanel and Misty aren't on with me simultaneously. Facebook Live will allow me to conference people in, but I can only conference them in one person at a time. So that's why. But Missy, I got a lot of questions from a few different people. All but one of these people wanted to stay anonymous.
Okay.
So some of these questions that are some of the really, really good ones are from Bailey, who I know is watching this video, and she's been really excited about it. She's a Kevin fan. And Bailey wants to know, I'll just go in the order that I sent them over to you guys. So she wants to know, how early should she get there for VIP and for Soundcheck? If you have experience with that.
I do have experience with that. I think it kind of goes along with whatever venue you're at, particularly most recently in Vegas. VIP meetup and all of that is at 4 p.m. And you can arrive earlier if you want to, but they're not going to open the doors unless, they're ready to open the doors. So 4 o'clock ideally is fine. If you are doing something like sound check or any of that kind of thing, I think it depends on the different packages that you have. And also it depends on if you have wheelchair accessibility or a pass for parking and such. It sort of depends on that sort of situation. I know when I was in California, I went to a show and a friend of mine and I ended up being by the buses by accident because we were trying to find wheelchair parking. So we had to be averted and go all the way around the other side of the building, so it took a lot longer. I think it kind of just depends on the venue itself.
Okay, gotcha. I do want to just let you guys know too, the way that I have to set this particular vlog up so that I can actually see Misty and Chanel to conference them in, I can't see comments at all. So if you guys have a question for either Misty or me or Chanel when it's her turn, please send them to me in Messenger. You guys can, excuse me, if we're friends, you guys can send them to me personally, or you guys can send messages via BSB Cruise Vlog. But yeah, send me any questions that you guys have during this video that way, because I'm realizing now I can't see any comments. So, okay, cool. So another question that Bailey had was, in your experience, has there been a bathroom nearby if you get there early? And this is a good question for anybody. If you get there early and you need waiting a while.
So again, that depends on the venue. I find that if you ask one of the ushers that are taking your ticket, or the person, if you are in a wheelchair and you're being escorted down an elevator, or you're being taken up somewhere to go to your seat, you can ask that particular person, and along the way you can see restroom signs, or they might be able to point you in the right direction. But more often than not, it doesn't hurt to ask. I know in Vegas, in the meet and greet area, the VIP meet and greet area, in the room, they do have a bathroom there.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually never done any of the shows myself that were like general admission.
Mm-hmm.
So like even for me, the idea of like I've literally contemplated like an adult diaper because
Yeah.
the idea of like losing my spot and then having to like try to fight my way back. I don't really understand how that's gonna work. So we'll see. If I do, I'll probably be doing fit. Or if I can afford a table, we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
Yeah.
if my butt looks extra, like it's got a little extra going on, that's why. And now you all know my secret. So,
no judgments. Totally understand.
Thank you. All right. So another question that Bailey had was, can people that are in wheelchairs, can they sit in the, actually, no, before I ask that question, Chanel just messaged me a tip. She said, don't drink during the show for general admission. Pre-game and pee beforehand. So basically be a camel during the show is her advice.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So Bailey said, can people that are in wheelchairs, can they sit in the front row for soundcheck parties?
Again,
or is there a separate designated area?
There is. When I did the sound check in Los Angeles, there was a wheelchair designated area. It was kind of far back, and so that's kind of a little bit of a bummer. But I was able to climb down the stairs and go and sit in a seat, so I could get a little bit closer. But again, I think it depends on the venue. If you ask the person that is working that area, they can probably point you to an area where you can kind of sit on the bottom. It doesn't hurt to ask, for sure. Yeah.
So that would be during soundcheck party, or that would be just during the show?
Soundcheck party. Okay. Now during the show, it depends on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. Go ahead.
During the show, it all depends on your ticket. You can call the venue and you can let them know that you are in a wheelchair, or you have to be in a specific spot. You have a different disability or whatever the case may be, and they can hopefully get you in a designated seat where it's conducive to you'll be able to enjoy the show and have a good time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know, while you were answering that question, Cara Lee just sent me a message kind of on the same topic, and she said she's seen. I guess it's one of those things where it can depend on the venue, that soundcheck, the space for people in wheelchairs can sometimes be closer to the stage. It can just depend on the venue. One thing that I would hope, if for some reason someone in back ever hears these videos, or hears opinions that are spoken as a result of these videos, for people that are in wheelchairs during soundcheck, if they can't get close to the stage to have interaction with the boys, I feel like the boys should have to make sure that they go out there and have interaction in that section. Sure. That's an easy thing to do. They'll have security there with them. That should definitely be something that is happening during soundcheck. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's kind of, what's the point of those people paying extra if they're not going to get potentially the same access to the same opportunity?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm checking through stuff just to make sure I'm not missing things as we're moving through.
No worries.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, Chanel, I'll let you touch on that during yours. So the next question. Draw one. All right. All right. So this is the last question from Bailey. She wanted to know, will they give her enough time to actually talk to the boys a little bit when it's time to get pictures with them?
In my experience, personally for me, I've had plenty of time to, it felt a little rushed. I don't think that they like to, and I'm speaking from my own perspective, I don't know, but I don't think that they like to choose favorites or like to choose one person over the other just because that person's in a wheelchair, treat someone differently. I know personally for me,
Mhm.
I don't like to be treated differently. And when I'm going to certain things, I expect to wait in line just like everybody else, kind of thing. So
Mhm.
when it comes to that, my experiences with the boys have always been very personable and always very well spoken, but it always has been very rushed, just like everybody else's experiences. So still
Gotcha.
had a good experience, but it wasn't more time just because I'm in a wheelchair.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. That's um that's interesting information to have because I've heard fans that are not in wheelchairs and not in that situation, for lack of a better word, bitching, saying, "Oh, so and so is getting preferential treatment because they're in a wheelchair, yada yada yada." And it's not been just during meet and greets. I've heard it more so on cruises,
Mhm.
um, and that's not so much been my experience. But I also look at it, and this is just me speaking as someone who is, not in a wheelchair. It's been my experience that on cruises, they tend to give a little bit more time because they know, like I said before, that people in wheelchairs or people with, another disability, they're not able to follow them around through the party, push through the throngs of people,
Mhm.
and really chase them down. They realize that they have to come to them. So they do spend a lot of time in that section that's usually set aside for the party before they go out, and start dispersing into the wider crowd, or even during then, they'll kind of rotate in and out of that section. And they will hang out and spend good quality time there and quality time with individual people
Mhm.
in that section before they move on. But I think that's kind of the mindset, is that they realize that, like, they really can't. I wouldn't say necessarily it's not safe for them to leave that section, but I mean, if Nick goes walking by, it's going to be pandemonium. I've almost gotten trampled, and I'm 5'10" and can throw elbows. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that that's part of why. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's interesting to hear that it's, during meet and greets, that's not the case.
I do remember. I just remembered a certain situation where when I first had I went to a concert back in 2001. It was my first show, up close and personal. We saw the buses coming in, so naturally we're all gathering and we're all going. Howie and his security guard stopped and told me to wait, and he came over to me and took a picture with me. Um,
Oh wow.
so that experience was especially really cool because I think that he didn't want me to be trampled by a bunch of fans. So
Hmm.
um,
And I think that's the fact that, like, they're so aware of what is gonna give everybody, that, like, most, maybe not everybody, they can't please everyone, but what's gonna give most people the best out of an experience. They're aware of it. Their security is aware of it, and so that's awesome.
mhm.